In 2019, a guy who knew nothing about fashion walks into a room in Rome. No fashion degree, no design training. He was 28 years old, making photocopies for $500 a month. That same year, he flew to Paris for Fashion Week. And he couldn't get into most of the shows. So he stood outside on the pavement in a puffer jacket while the entire fashion industry walked past him. But just 3 years later, he did something strange. He bought old Ralph Lauren shirts for $40 each. Shirts that nobody wanted. And he printed one word and one number on the back. And then he priced them at $550. A 1200% markup. The internet called it a scam, but for some reason, they sold out in minutes. And 6 years after that, Louis Vuitton, one of the biggest luxury brands in the world, handed him their entire menswear division. And you know who gave him that job? The same man who paid him $500 a month to make photocopies. This man was Virgil Abloh. And you know what people say about him? Nobody has ever mentioned about his degree. Nobody has ever mentioned about his background or money. But they always spoke about his taste. Taste? What taste? The same taste that made Steve Jobs different from Steve Wozniak. The same taste that makes Tesla different from other EVs. Taste is something that cannot be taught, but it can certainly be learned. And in the next 5 minutes, I am going to teach you the fastest way to build good taste. Consuming out of algorithm, consuming intentionally, and consuming from the right resources. So without further ado, let's get started. You know, the interesting thing is that if you were to ask any AI tool how to build good taste, you'll get a response that sounds very practical, but when you apply that information, you'd realize that it doesn't really work. And I'll give you an example. Gemini, I want to build great taste like Steve Jobs and Virgil Abloh. What would be a step-by-step roadmap to improve my taste? And while I'm getting a response, I'll share a story from my childhood. And this is where I will explain you lesson number 1, which is your ability to consume outside of your algorithm. See, I belong to an area in Delhi that did not have a lot of fancy malls. But my father always used to take me to this best of hotels and the best of places, and even though we were not really spending much, we would just go there for a cup of coffee. So my mom and other family members used to always criticize him, saying that why do you take him to like an Imperial or a Leela? You live in Preet Vihar, you're going so far away to DLF, Vasant Kunj and Emporium Mall, like what is the point of it? And even back then I remember he said that in this age, agar Ansh sahi cheezon ko dekh lega aur agar duniya ko observe kar lega, that will help him in the longer run. And you know, I think he got taste way before anybody else did. So your childhood, your background, and the kind of experiences you expose yourself to, they define your taste. And it's not just what you read, and it's especially not the stuff which is in your algorithm. And when I mean algorithm, if I'm a computer science engineer, or agar main sara din sirf computer science ki baatein kar raha hu, I'm watching nerdy stuff, I'm watching geeky stuff, and I'm only watching the latest Spider-Man movie, I'm making a big mistake because I'm only consuming within my algorithm. However, if I were to step out and probably think about what's happening in Greek museums, what is happening in the music industry, what is happening in the clothing industry, I am consuming outside of the algorithm. And I'll tell you how to identify your own algorithm. So here we are on Gemini. And here you can see that it says build a reference library of excellence and deconstruct what makes great design work, apply the 3% rule. All of this sounds great, but now I'm going to tell you a real life example. What you see behind me is my office, okay? And when we went to designers to design this office, like good designers with good taste, they were charging me 4 to 5 lakh rupees extra simply because of this good taste. So I'll show you what we did. So let's just say I go to Pinterest and aesthetic office that has blends of posters and a bit of brutalism, like grungy textures, and give me stuff which is like cheap. Not very cheap, but affordable. And I'm going to put this prompt. And now what we did is we took these pictures and then we created this huge fig jam board. Okay, this was the entire thing and this was our empty space. And I just spent my time observing things and I started consuming things outside of my algorithm. So I really liked this wooden part. I absolutely loved it. I loved these spotlights. और बहुत सारी छोटी-छोटी चीजें मैंने यहाँ पे collect करी. Now let me show you something even cooler. Let's just say I go here and I take a screenshot of all of this. Okay? And I go to Gemini and I say, hi, I want to redesign my office and basically मेरा मन है कि I want to make this entire thing very aesthetic, but at the same time the production needs to be easy. Actually no, not easy. I want it to be easy to maintain. The building part can be like whatever आपको जो भी चाहिए, but in the end the final stuff should be easy to maintain. कि अगर बना दिया तो संभालने के लिए easy होना चाहिए. So let's do that. By the way, if you're wondering how is this prompt so seamless, I'm using Wispr Flow right now and they've actually partnered with us on this video and I will show you how Wispr Flow works in just a few minutes. But basically आप देख सकते हो कि यहाँ पे it was able to break down the inspiration and now it gave me a bunch of things. So you know what we did? We took all of this advice and then we started finding vendors and then we started designing the entire thing on a FigJam board. Can you imagine? So literally this wall that you see on Figma, this is the wall behind me. I'll also show you one more very cool concept. So this was the concept that we had thought for one of these walls. And you know, one by one, we were able to come up with so many ideas and so many explorations and we were like discussing things and we were consuming out of the algorithm. Habit number 2 is consuming intentionally. Now, let's just say that my team wants to make an AI workshop poster. If you go to Pinterest and just type AI workshop poster, this is the kind of stuff that you will get. Now, instinctively, there's going to be some stuff that you visually like and some stuff that you do not like. But it's not necessary that what you like is going to be liked by your customers as well. And this is where relevant taste comes into the picture. So very important question that you have to ask yourself is that what is it that I'm trying to create? Who am I trying to create it for? And what kind of content or what kind of taste does my audience have? So if you're a beginner, how do you figure those things out? Now this is where you can use AI to its full advantage. Now, let's just say I am going through a bunch of these posters and I absolutely love this, but my vocabulary is very poor. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to go and start a new chat and let's paste this. And I'm going to show you a very fun thing. I want you to break down this design poster so that I can understand all the layers and sort of break down the taste. Now, of course, this prompt is okay, but if I take this entire thing and do option 2, Wispr Flow in less than half a second is going to convert my weak prompt into a solid prompt. So now it has said title, role and stance, task, context, inputs available, output requirements, constraints, examples, execution checklist. And now it has given me a proper layer by layer breakdown. Now I'll tell you what happens here. See, when you look at a certain poster, let's just say I am here, I'm trying to break down how this poster was made. Do you think a person made this alone? 100% not. There would be a person doing copywriting, another person would be doing visuals, another person would be looking at the strategy of it. So from a practical perspective, there are 3 brains, 3 different perspectives and 3 different areas of taste that have been applied here. So when you look at something, you have to break it down into layers. When I watch a YouTube video, when I watch an Instagram reel, I first watch it and only notice at the script. So I enable my brain to think from the POV of the script writer. Then I watch it again and then I only look at the visuals and I look at from the lens of a motion graphics designer. Then I look at again and I only listen to the music. So I look from the perspective of a music designer. And one by one, I observe the patterns that are recurring and patterns that are working for that specific niche. And I personally feel that this is a great habit because then you're consuming intentionally and you're breaking down layers one by one. The third rule is consuming from the right people. Anytime we want to make a piece of content, we don't just randomly start writing and creating things. So we've developed this sheet right here where I have put down all newsletters, all creators that I like, their type, the subject that they deal with, best known for, etc., etc. And almost 3 to 4 hours every single day, my team is following this habit that we have in the company. It's called the SCORE framework. Study, categorize, overlap, render, evaluate. Studying means that you have a proper set of people that you can organize together and study them. So when we have all of our scripts together, these are all the titles, who was it written by, the script document, and the looms. What we do now is that we would take a specific idea and break it down as to why this would work. So this is the study part of the SCORE framework. Then we have categorize. All of the inspiration that we have is categorized into certain niches and what they are known for. And finally, it is our ability to then find the overlap between the categorized reference and what we do. Now, the interesting part is that anytime you collect inspiration, anytime you're referencing from the right kind of people, your thoughts are always jumbled up. So I'll tell you what we usually do. So let's just say I'm having a brainstorming session with AI. Hi AI, there's been a bunch of news around Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, So I know that Hollywood stuff is trending in general. Then I have some stuff around technology and VFX and Hollywood going in AI and stuff like that. I am super excited about the Ramayan movie as well. So now we need to find some good overlaps and some good intersections. In general, I'm very confused about this. So I need to put like a strategy in place to like make good content in the next 1 week. And if you can just probably give me 2-3 references, just some could save by, that'll be great. Now check this out. I'm going to take this entire thing and use Wispr Flow to convert my entire prompt into a cleaner prompt. So by the way, let me show you something. This is my Wispr Flow dashboard. And at this point, I have used 115 AI prompts. There's been a 6-day streak for me. And if I go here to my voice, it also has a voice profile. And if I go here to my usage, I am actually in the top 0.1% in my speed of overall speaking. So all of these things, when you're like doing a brainstorming discussion, something like Wispr Flow can genuinely help you get better ideas. Now, as soon as you submit this, AI is going to give you a bunch of ideas, and that is where your intuition and your gut comes into the place. Anytime you're trying to ask yourself, okay, what do I do and how do I improve my taste? You need to remind yourself that, are you making sure that you're consuming outside of your algorithm? Are you making sure that you're consuming intentionally? And are you making sure that you're consuming from the right kind of people? As you can see, I've been using a bunch of different tools, including Gemini, Wispr Flow, and Figma. And thank you so much to Wispr Flow for making such an incredible tool, because if you were to ask any person in my company, they will tell you I have stopped typing things. So when they look at Slack and when they look at WhatsApp, they're like, how has this guy written such a long feedback in such less time? So if you have more questions around taste and pattern finding, let me know. I'm going to be reading the comments section for the next 6 hours extensively. So if you want to talk directly to me, I'm looking forward to your notes and comments below. Thank you so much, and I hope that you're taking care of your mind and body. This is your dost Ansh Mehra, and you are learning from the Cutting Edge School. कैसा चल रहा है रेंडर?